lives with a little bit of a, as you say, a new normal there, it seems like.
Yes, pretty much so. I mean, it's the same three guys. Again, with Ryan, he comes in, gets his work in real quick. Cam, for the most part, does the reps that we have scheduled for him, as we do with Greg Olson.
Is this Torrey on track to play this week, or is this just getting him back?
No, it's just getting him back. I mean, he had a good workout today from my understanding, and we'll continue to work with him and what the trainers have to tell us.
Ron, the team comes off a loss like last week. What do you look for the next week to give you any confidence things are going to be right?
Well, the biggest thing you look for is energy when you practice. I thought we came in, and as I told you guys yesterday, I was really pleased with the way we practiced. I thought the energy level was where it needed to be. In spite of the conditions, these 2 days, the guys have been out there and, they've brought some energy. So it's been good. It really has.
After 8 years of watching opposing defenses try to scheme against Cam and stop all of the many things that he's good at and that he can do, have you noticed trends of how you all are attacked that might have been a little bit more effective in areas than others?
Well, I think now that the nice thing is based on some of the people we have. I think, people can try and scheme and do the things that they want to do, but I also think a big part of it is having the type of weapons that we have now. We've never had this type of an offense in terms of the personnel. Guys that have different skill sets that fit very nicely into the things that Coach wants to do. People try to do different things, many different things, but at the end of the day, it's really about whether or not we can do some things successfully more than anything else.
Is having all of these different types of players more versatility than you guys have ever had on the field before, when kind of maybe a worst case scenario happens like in Pittsburgh, does that make it easier, maybe give you more options with which to adjust from
Absolutely, hopefully so. But again, we can't give up points, which is exactly what we did. We gave up 14 quick points and it changes the momentum very quickly. It's like the same thing with going to go play in a dome. You got to have success early because you got to be able to take the crowd out of it. And obviously Pittsburgh's crowd got into it very quickly once they got a little success. And that's kind of the objective this week is we got to be smart about it because we will be in a dome and it could get very loud.
Ron, how did Luke handle this one? I mean, he's been here for such a long time, and you guys have been one of the top defenses in the league for 8 years. How did he handle this week, and what have you noticed from him?
As far as?
Just, dealing with the loss, such a big loss last Thursday night, how has he handled this?
I think he's handled it just like he has handled any of the losses we've had. Go right back to work. I really do think that, what I said after the game, I think is probably the most true thing that our guys have gotten into, and that is it's over and we moved on. And I mean that. I mean, the only reason we're talking about it is because you guys brought it up. Our whole attitude has been to go forward and get past it, For the most part, we didn't watch it as a team. They may have watched it individually or as a group, but for the most part, there was no directive to watch this tape. Okay, we as coaches went over and studied it. We looked for the corrections that we needed to make, and we went on. And again, as I said, sometimes it happens.
Julius talked about the importance of getting refocused for this stretch run. I wonder, how nice is it to have defensive leadership, or just leadership in general like that, who knows that this is crunch time?
Well, I think it's very nice because, again, a guy with Julius' stature, players most certainly do listen. They do pay attention. They do get it because he's been around. He's been part of a lot of success. And I think that's one of the things that young players look for, is somebody that they can follow that has been there, that can tell them, look, dudes, this is what happens. It's going to happen. Or this, we've got to be smart about this. We can't get over here about that or down here about this. I think that's a huge positive to have that type of leadership.
On the field, Ron, speaking of Julius, how do you think Peppers has performed this year?
I think he's been very solid. I think he's done the things that we've needed him to do. He's been productive. He's a presence on the field. I think, again, and I know what everybody wants to know about production and numbers and stuff like that. Again, when you get into a game like we just came out of, it's difficult. And that's just, again, it's as simple as that. Those things happen in football games. And when you have a really good game, everybody's going to tell you how good it was. So to me, there's a balance that you have to have. As I said before, winning masks a lot of things, and losing makes it stick out even more.
Ron, how
having been a part of games like that, as you've mentioned over your career, how can a humbling experience help a team finish the season well?
I think it creates a little bit more, I think, realism. You know, that, hey, maybe we aren't as good as we think we are. Maybe we need to work a little bit more. Maybe we took it a little bit for granted. I mean, those are all things that, you know, humbling experiences create for athletes, or at least for people, I believe. And so to me, you know, if we don't learn from this, and it's one of my favorite sayings is that, you know, you got to study history, learn from history, because if you don't, you're doomed to repeat it. So hopefully we learn from this, and we understand what it's going to take each day, each week, in terms of preparation and getting ready to play.
Back to Julius. You guys have managed him in terms of practice days and the workload that he carries through the year, but are you getting to the point now where you put more on his plate and have him do more things, you know, within the defense and try to impact the game a little more?
I think, again, you know, we're going to play him as we see fit, and we'll see how it goes. Again, you know, this is a long stretch. You know, there's 7 regular season games left to play, and then who knows from there. And what we have to do is we've got to make sure what we're doing is we're doing it at the right time.
Ron, early in your career, there was kind of a shaky record coming off buys that's clearly been turned around. What did you make any kind of, and I know this wasn't a buy per se, but did you make any changes, significant changes, or just sort of all even out?
I think it all evens itself out. I mean, again, some of the things that have happened, some of the positive things that happened, really it's just been being able to practice. You know, I mean, we've had some tough days this year in terms of practice. You know, we've had to work our schedule around 2 hurricanes. You know, unseasonably hot weather, untimely rain. You know, this week, again, rain yesterday, rain today, sloppy conditions. But, you know, for the most part, like I said, the guys came out, gave us some energy. They were focused. They were more engrossed in what we were doing as opposed to the elements, and that's always a good thing.
Ron, I think Detroit's number 8 in the league in passing yards allowed, but they're toward the bottom in deflections and interceptions. How is it they've been able to, I guess, keep opponents' passing yards down without really putting hands on the ball?
Ask it again.
So Detroit's allowed, I think, the 8th fewest passing yards per game, but they're second to last in interceptions. They're last in passing deflections. Is there anything that you've seen on tape that?
Okay. In terms of that, they keep the ball in front of them. I mean, you don't look at these high numbers of big plays. Again, you know, on up until Pittsburgh, you know, we had kept the ball in front of us. We played against the number 1 passing offense in Tampa Bay, and we limited their top 2 receivers to 3 receptions. And the reason we kept the plays in front of us, for whatever reason, you know, in the Pittsburgh game, we gave 2 big ones over the top. You know, that's going to happen. You know, I know there was a while when everybody was getting on us about the play of the tight end, the tight end's killing you. Yeah, he was. But, again, what happened on the outside? We've been able to keep it in front of us. And that's the big thing. You do certain things, there's another element that's going to suffer. And we got into a situation where we felt that we weren't going to get beat through the middle. Okay? If we can keep everything in front of us, we have a chance. Well, when you watch them and you put the tape on, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing the ball being kept in front of them. That's why those numbers are down. You let the ball get up over the top, and those numbers go up very quickly. You know, I can't remember the number, but Tampa Bay at one point was averaging like 120 yards off of 3 passing plays a game. Then in each one of those games you go, they have 3 big plays. It's right around 100-something yards. It was an incredible number at one point. And so when we went into that game, we wanted to keep it in front of us. Well, that's what you see. You don't see Detroit giving up huge, massive chunk plays.
What you were just kind of talking about kind of sound like on defense now in the NFL, there's so many weapons, there's so many ways the offense has the advantage. Is there a element of pick your poison and you just want to shut down the outside, and the tight end typically doesn't go for those huge plays, so you kind of allow that? What
you try to do is you try to say who's not going to beat you. That's what you have to do going into games. Who are you not going to let beat you? Okay, that's what you got to pick. And so you do pick your poison. You just say, hey, you know, we're going to do this or we're going to do this, but we've got to stop. You know, and when this happens here, we can't allow that to become a big play. And so you most certainly do got to look at things like that. You know, this is, when you look at the numbers defensively, you're going to see a lot higher numbers than if you looked at it 20 years ago. And everybody goes, well, why? Well, first of all, the rules are a lot different, than 20 years ago. offenses are a lot different than 20 years ago. I mean, things change, and I think, you know, it's like in college football. It's nothing for a quarterback to throw 50 or 60 passes a game. You know, so I think, you know, that's the biggest thing we have to understand. You know, people talk about, oh, these ungodly numbers that are being given up by defense or being put up by offenses. Well, there's a reason now. I mean, I promise you, if you look at what the average number of passes were 20 years ago to what the average number of passes are being thrown today, it's amazing.
Ron, given the timing, just from a timing perspective, would your hope be that Cam can throw tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll see. Again, you know, we're going to stick to the plan, and you know, whatever Ryan Vermillion tells us, then we'll do.
Anything else?
You wine guy?
I was waiting for that question. I heard. Okay, I enjoy the Pinot Noirs. My favorite is Goldeneye by Duckhorn. It's grown in the grapes are grown in the Russian region valley of Northern California. I'm also very partial to Napa Cabernets. Silver Oak's one of my favorites. I'm just advertising in case any of you want to give me something. And when it comes to Chardonnays, I enjoy Ron Bauer.
I'm surprised right after Cam's press conference, you didn't immediately have a T-shirt with your wine choice on it.
Says that we don't. Thank you, guys.